All right, let's talk about God's favorite phrase. Not love thy neighbor, not thou shalt not. It's fear not, dropped over 300 times in Scripture. That's more than any other command. God really said, I'm going to tell these humans not to be scared, and then copy-pasted it throughout the entire Bible like a divine spam filter. Meanwhile, we're over here having panic attacks over text messages and whether Janet from accounting liked our email signature. But here's the kicker. Every single time God says, fear not, he's not handing out a motivational poster. He's making a promise. He's showing up. Because apparently the antidote to fear isn't bravery, it's presence. God knew we'd be terrified of literally everything, so he programmed the cheat code into the system from day one. Let's get specific. When angels show up in the Bible, their opening line is almost always, fear not. Not hello, not how's the weather, just straight to, don't freak out. Because apparently divine messengers are so terrifying that humans immediately assume they're about to die. Gabriel rolls up to Mary like, fear not, because homegirl was probably ready to sprint. Same thing with the shepherds at Jesus' birth. The angel choir had to lead with fear not before dropping the greatest announcement in history because those dudes were about to pass out in a field. God knows his own presence is overwhelming, so he leads with reassurance. Meanwhile, we can't even send a risky text with 17 drafts in a prayer circle. The Bible is basically God saying, I see you're terrified. Good news. I'm here, so relax. Now, here's where it gets wild. Fear not isn't a suggestion, it's a command paired with a covenant. God never just says, don't be afraid, good luck. He follows it up with, for I am with you, or I have redeemed you, or I go before you. It's contractual. Joshua gets fear not right before leading a nation into enemy territory, but God adds, I will never leave you. Isaiah gets it during Israel's darkest hour, but God ties it to his identity, I am your God. The pattern is insane. God doesn't expect you to stop being human. He expects you to remember who's in the room. That's the whole play. Your brain will always manufacture worst-case scenarios at 2 a.m., but the Bible flips the script. Fear isn't the problem. Forgetting who's holding you is. Let's roast ourselves for a second. We live in the safest era in human history, yet we're more anxious than people who literally fought lions and survived plagues. We have antibiotics, GPS, and food delivery, but we're losing our minds over someone leaving us on red. The Israelites crossed a sea on foot with an army chasing them, and God said, fear not. Daniel got thrown in a pit of hungry lions, and God said, fear not. Paul was shipwrecked, beaten, imprisoned, fear not. And here we are spiraling because our Wi-Fi is slow. The Bible's fear not wasn't written for comfort, it was written for catastrophe, for people facing actual death, exile, and war. So when God says it to them and then says it to you, that's not patronizing, that's him saying your small fear and their giant fear get the same response, his presence. Here's the truth bomb. The reason fear not is repeated 300 plus times isn't because God's forgetful, it's because we are. Every single generation needs to hear it again. Every person needs to hear it again. Sometimes you need to hear it 17 times in a week. Fear is the most human response to uncertainty, and life is nothing but uncertainty wearing different costumes. The Bible doesn't shame you for being afraid. It redirects you. It says, yeah, you're scared. Valid. Now look at who's standing next to you. That's the secret. Biblical courage isn't the absence of fear, it's fear that's been outweighed by trust. It's choosing to believe God's I am with you is louder than your what if. So the next time you're terrified, you're in good company. Just don't camp there. Remember the command. Fear not, because you are not alone.